to open the SL valves, right? Until the end of, like, remember that second part of atrial or ventricular systole? Then it opens up that part. You guys remember that? From the cardiac cycle? Okay, so anyway.
There's kind of like on this, like I was having trouble because it said 3 leaflets. So not everything with 3 leaflets is a tricuspid valve, is it?
Right, because you could have. Good thing we're not using these again, huh? You could have something like this, where you have the pulmonary semilunar valve that has 3. Every valve has 3 except for the bicuspid that has 2.
So does the aortic semilunar that has 3 too?
Yes. So one of the views that was weird was this one right here. And that would be like this. Okay, so you guys see that?
Yeah.
So now I'm looking down here and they're saying, what is that thing? I don't have any forceps, but I just noticed too, they keep saying, did they say tweezers on here?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
No, okay, whatever. Okay, so if you look down that way, that valve is there, the semilunar valve, in and through there, and the blood goes up through there.
Which one is? That's the aortic, right?
Do you see how it goes through there? So this one's the pulmonary semilunar valve
Okay.
because it's going from the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery.
Okay.
Right, so that one goes through that way, right here. See?
Are we allowed to do that if like we need to?
Well, you probably aren't going to want to touch anything during the lab because we're not going
Can
to
we
have
put
gloves
gloves
and
on?
everything. I mean,
Can we bring
really,
gloves?
probably not. Probably not, because then what if I have pins on here? There's going to be pins and things like that, so
Okay.
we don't want anything to get moved around. Because you only have how much time?
1
A
minute.
minute at each station, and some of you guys are like stressing out, but that's enough time. Remember how like when we did the one where we went around with the models?
Yeah.
And after a while, you kind of get into the groove of it, and you actually, a minute, you just like, okay, can we move now? Do you see what I mean? So you're kind of stressed out at first, but then it goes quickly. So you shouldn't have to touch anything, and I don't really want you to touch anything because if something's pinned down like this, like if you came up to the heart and it was opened up like that and pinned like that, you're not going to want to touch it and move it around. Because the next person after you, because that could mess up the test for other people, right, guys? So if you have a question during the practical, you need to keep it pretty quick, pretty simple, and I'm not going to tell you any answers, right? I mean, so pretty much you just need to know it. You need to know what they are right away so that you can answer the other questions that are a little bit harder. Does that make sense? So it's not just like this thing here where you're just going to name everything, because that's just too easy. Anyway. All right, so what are other questions here? Other questions?
What about the coronary sinuses?
The coronary sinuses. Now, that was one thing that some people got confused on. There are the coronary artery sinuses, and then there was the coronary sinus. Where's the... I don't want to cut this too much. Oh, my God. Because I'm looking for the... It's atrium right there. I guess it's over here. This one's cut weird. I don't know where this came from. Anyhow, what was the question that someone just said right now? Okay, coronary sinus. I'm sorry, I was looking at a thing. What you have to remember is that on the back side of the heart, we said there was this thing called the coronary sinus. Now, can you see that here? Can you see the coronary sinus? No, because it's underneath all this fat. It's embedded in all this fat. But all of the coronary veins eventually dump into that sinus, which opens up to the
Aorta.
right atrium, or right auricle, right? So we can't see that on here. I mean, possibly you could find the opening with a probe.
But the
If
aorta
I had a
has
probe,
the openings,
can't-
right?
The
To
what?
The coronary sinuses, they like
The
branch out.
aorta, right? Now, if I could find an easier one, I need a probe, maybe a blunt probe, if somebody could get one.
Be right back.
Oh,
You're welcome.
thank you. Dang, you're welcome. Shh. You still wearing sweats, Josh?
Oh yeah. Asians rule.
Asian sweat day, he said. He told me that. I didn't say it.
It's just a little weird.
Yeah, he said that it's a day for him to wear sweats.
Some shredded meat in the interventricular septum.
Shredded,
Shredded
beef,
meat.
shredded
Tacos.
lamb tacos. Just kidding. Okay, so the on the lab, what you guys had to do was use a blunt probe to try to find the coronary artery sinuses. There are 2 of them. So, okay, first of all, where's the left ventricle?
On the left.
On the left on this one. Okay, so it's right here. So if I want to find the coronary artery sinuses, where do I have to go?
You have to go
Through the aorta.
I have to go to the aorta and just superior to the semilunar valves, right? And so in the lab, what we had to do was there's one right there, and you could kind of put the probe into that opening. It's really hard to see. I mean, it's actually going into that opening. And this thing actually wraps all the way around. And if you see that opening right there?
Yeah.
That's part of the coronary artery that wraps around. Okay, on that side. And then if we had the other one, we could find it over here on the other side. Somewhere over here. Or it might have been cut. Who knows? It could have been cut. Could be over here. But anyhow, those are the openings that are right above the aortic
And you said
semilunar
it's
valve.
superior to the...
And it's just above the semilunar valve. So there's one clearly right here that you can see. And so where is that blood going to from here? Where does this blood go to?
Coronary artery.
To a coronary artery, which goes where? To the heart itself, right? And then once that blood becomes deoxygenated in the myocardium and the capillaries, okay, then it's going to go to the coronary veins and then to the coronary sinus and then back to the right auricle.
Where'd you say it
Right.
comes from into the sinuses? Where does it start?
Where does it come from before it goes
Yeah,
into
like
this
what
right here?
goes-
So where did it come from before it went? Where was it before it went right here? Aorta, and then go backwards. Man, that would be harder if you had to go backwards, wouldn't it, guys?
Don't do it.
Don't.
Whoever I hear is going to talk about the test and
No,
do
no,
everything
no,
backwards.
no.
Okay, anyway. I'm joking. Okay, look.
Okay.
So if you go backwards, you should be able to go backwards. So anyway, it doesn't matter. You should go like forwards and backwards. So it went from here. So where did it come from before that?
The body?
Left ventricle.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Right?
What are we talking about? The aorta?
He was talking about. Someone asked where did this blood come from before it went there, right? It
In
was
the what?
in the left ventricle, and
Oh.
then it was in the left auricle, and then it
Oh,
was
we're
in
talking
the
about
pulmonary
from the
veins
left.
because it just came from the lungs, right? So
Would veins take the blood from the lungs back to the left atrium?
yes,
The oxygenated blood. Which
Yes.
veins do that?
pulmonary veins.
Pulmonary veins. Okay.
Yeah, and then some people were confused. They were saying something about the lungs filtering blood. Lungs don't filter blood, right, guys? Filtration of blood does not occur in the lungs. It's gas exchange, right, that occurs in the lungs. So just don't get that mixed up because if we're learning about the kidney and all these other kinds of things next year, ninth graders that are gonna be here next year for 10th grade, you're not going to want to get mixed up things with like filtering. You're not going to want to use the wrong terms on that. Okay, so other questions. What are some other questions here? I don't know. You guys want to know? You guys have to ask me because I already know all these, so it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's not me. I don't know what you guys want to know about this. You guys are the ones that are worried about this, so
What is it? The interventricular septum. That's the muscle in between that pushes the
That's-
right.
right. So this is the part right here that when this contracts, remember it goes in and up. So this space becomes smaller, and then this actually bulges. Because remember when you contract a muscle, it bulges. So this is the one that bulges into this space.
Okay.
So you can imagine if this bulges into this space, isn't that going to kind of cause that to
Yeah,
push
it's
the blood
gonna
up a little bit more? All right. So, all right, that's a good question.
Can you talk about the AV nodes and the...
Well, you can't see those on here, so that's not going to be part of this
Oh,
practical,
okay.
right? But actually, maybe I'll change a couple of questions, Josh. Thank you. I'm getting some, you guys. I'm getting some great ideas. I'm going to have to modify some of these questions, Josh. Thank you. Oh man,
I'm sorry.
everyone's like, don't hurt Josh. He's a nice guy. Trust me.
If I have to hide under the
No,
table,
don't hide, don't hide. But that is really a legitimate question because if I was going to say, if I had these two things sitting out here like this, or I don't know, whichever view I wanted to do, this is probably easier in my opinion, where, let's say I had like, I don't know, I'm not going to put like 17 pins in here, but let's just say I had 3 pins in different locations. I don't know, maybe I could have a pin right here, and a pin right here, and a pin over here. It's hard to see over here. Yeah, maybe like a pin over here somewhere. Where would the SA node be?
Would be.
I just took notes on this and I can't remember.
Below the node.
It would be right here on this one. Okay. It'd be on because it's on the the right auricle,
Oh.
on the right atrium on the
I
back
got it.
side.